The moment I first saw her, I knew she was my mission target. But I'd already fallen for her before the system even gave me the prompt. And I'd foolishly told the system that after I succeeded, I wanted to stay with her forever. I never expected that when she woke up, she would only overhear words like mission and conquest. The next day, she retracted all her warmth, treating the kiss from the night before as nothing more than a drunken mistake. Years later, with tears in her eyes, Ava confronted me on a terrace, asking if my years of affection had all been just to complete the mission. With a bitter smile, I confessed the secret I had saved for our wedding night, that I had genuinely fallen in love with her long ago and had even planned surprises for her with the system. But by the time she was finally ready to believe in my sincerity, the confession meant for our wedding had become the epitaph at our parting. Genuine feelings can expire, and she, in the end, was simply too late. As the heir to the prestigious Anderson family, I pursued Ava for 5 long years, but she never gave me the time of day. Then another suitor, Santiago, showed up. Full of confidence, he quickly managed to spend a night with her. I admitted defeat and was preparing to make a graceful exit. But then, when she couldn't find me, Ava cried her eyes out. The moment Santiago arrived in this world, I knew that even the system had given up on me. Standing outside the door of the Miller family home, I could hear the sounds of laughter and joy from within. I clenched the box of chocolates in my hand, turned, and walked away. It was my last chance, and it had ended in failure. You have to admit, sometimes the connections between people are a strange and delicate thing. For instance, Ava was only supposed to be my mission target, but I accidentally fell in love with her for real. And no matter how much of my heart I poured out, she never took a single step toward me. The laughter from behind the door was like a sharp knife, twisting in my chest with every sound. Feelings, it seems, are never fair. Santiago had just shown up, and he had effortlessly obtained the tenderness I had spent 5 years desperately trying to earn. I went home and quietly waited for the system's punishment to come, but it never did. Finally, late into the night, the system appeared. "I've applied for special consideration for you," it said. The voice was the same gentle female one, though it sounded a little breathless this time. "Considering that, aside from failing to secure the target, your performance in this world has been exemplary. You even doubled the size of the Anderson Corporation. Your contributions here have been significant, so you have 2 options. First, I can assign you a new target. You'll be granted another 5 years. If you succeed this time, you can return to your original world and have your healthy body back. Second, you can terminate the mission. You will never be able to return to your original world, but you can remain here and continue living as James." I froze. A new target? I've never really been in a relationship in my life. The only clumsy, sincere affection I've ever had, I gave it all to Ava. And in this world, these past 5 years have burned away every last fantasy I had about love. Besides, what would I be giving up by staying? In my original world, I was frail and sick, confined to a hospital bed for years. I had no family, no friends. Here, even though I came for a mission, I found a family, made friends, and built the Anderson Corporation with my own 2 hands. I think of the countless sleepless nights spent with my partners, hammering out strategies, negotiating deals, securing investments, and expanding the business. I pour my heart and soul into the people and the life I have here. Could I really just let it all go? I wiped the moisture from the corner of my eye. I couldn't do it. I choose the second option. "Are you sure, Conqueror?" the system asked. "Once you make this choice, you can never return to your original world." I closed my eyes. "I'm sure. Thank you." The system's voice was soft. "Don't thank me. You gave it your all for these 5 years. Besides, we've worked together for so long. Even a system can develop a bit of attachment. I saw how hard you tried. Ava simply doesn't deserve you. And today is our last day. I have to take on a new assignment tomorrow. James, I hope you'll be happy here every single day." Ava's face flashed to my mind. That's right. Even the system was on my side, which just goes to show how much Ava must have despised me all these years. But it didn't matter anymore. Starting now, I was done loving her. The next day, I went to the office as usual. When I opened my phone to deal with work, Ava's iMessage chat was still pinned to the top. The last message was from me. Ava, I learned how to make your favorite hazelnut chocolates. Can I bring some over this weekend? As always, there was no reply. My message went unanswered, just like all the others. It had been like this for 5 years. Aside from the rare moments she'd grant me a sliver of kindness, it felt like I was performing a one-man show. The first time things were different was at a corporate gala where we both had too much to drink. On the way home, I clung to her sleeve and even ended up getting sick all over her custom silk gown. But she didn't give me her usual cold, annoyed look. Even though she was clearly drunk herself, she methodically cleaned us both up and took me back to her place. She brushed my teeth, washed my face, and finally wrestled me into the bathtub. I was in a daze the whole night, clinging to her like a koala. When I felt the warm touch of her lips on mine, I was sure I was dreaming. Her kiss was bold yet gentle, and the entire night felt like a hazy, sensual dream. But when I woke up the next morning, the bed beside me was empty. Only the Miller family's housekeeper was in the kitchen, warming up breakfast. He served the food and politely asked what I'd like to eat. The other time was after a devastating business failure. A competitor had set me up, and the company took a massive hit. That night, I was drinking alone by the Hudson River when Ava's car pulled up. She said she was just passing by. "You're an excellent CEO," she said. "One failure is no reason to beat yourself up." She sat with me by the river for a long time that night, and I eventually passed out at her arms. She had her driver help me into the car and take me home. In the car, I was leaning against her, completely out of it, and I instinctively tried to kiss her, but she gently turned away. I found out later that she had only come to comfort me because she was worried I'd be in no shape for an important business meeting the next day, a meeting that involved a crucial deal for Miller Industries. It was always like that for 5 years. Every time I thought I was finally getting somewhere, a harsh dose of reality would bring me crashing down. It was a constant, cruel reminder that Ava didn't like me, not even a little. The moments I clung to so desperately were nothing but my own wishful thinking. I unpinned her chat from the top of my message. At noon, my assistant, Pablo, knocked on my door. "Mr. Anderson, you haven't given me the lunch for Miss Miller yet." I paused. "I didn't make it today. Don't worry about it. We're not sending one." Anderson Corporation and Miller Industries were located in the same twin towers in downtown Manhattan, our offices just floors apart. Ava has a sensitive stomach and a long list of allergies, so her meals always had to be specially prepared. But even with detailed instructions, she'd still accidentally eat something wrong and end up in the hospital. I didn't trust anyone else with it, so I started making her lunch myself. No matter how late I worked or how tired I was, I always had her lunch ready for Pablo to deliver the next day. "We won't be sending it anymore," I said. "Someone else will make it for her." Pablo looked confused, but nodded and left quietly. I had just started to doze off around 1 when my phone began to ring incessantly. The caller ID was Emma, Ava's secretary. "Mr. Anderson," she sounded flustered. "I'm so sorry to bother you, but lunch wasn't delivered today, and Miss Miller is still waiting." I was silent for a moment. "Emma, let me ask you something," I said. "Before I started making lunch for Miss Miller, what did you usually order for her?" "Oh, I believe it was the $100 nutritional meal plan." "Then go back to ordering that," I said, my voice calm. "And please inform Miss Miller that I will no longer be providing her lunch." Being woken from a nap had already put me in a foul mood. I didn't expect Pablo to be knocking on my door again at 3 in the afternoon. "Mr. Anderson, it's an emergency. Ava has a terrible stomachache. I think she ate something too spicy. Emma is panicking because Miss Miller is refusing to go to the hospital." Pablo continued. "Emma asked if you could share the recipe for that medicated broth you used to make when Miss Miller had stomach pain." "Tell her to Google it," I said, looking up at him. "And if she can't figure it out, I suggest she gets to a hospital. She shouldn't wait. An allergic reaction can be deadly." To be fair, Emma was just doing her job. I used to be so obsessed with Ava's well-being that I'd panic at the slightest sign of her discomfort. Over time, they just got used to calling me first whenever anything happened. Just then, the receptionist called. "Mr. Anderson, there's a Mr. Santiago here to see you. He said to mention the word conquest and you'd understand." I paused for a beat. Send him up. Santiago walked into my office, looking around with open curiosity. So you're the last conqueror the system told me about? He asked, casually dropping into the chair across from me. Is it cool if I just call you James? I nodded. Sure. So you really couldn't win over Ava in 5 years? He asked. I hesitated. Yeah, that's right. Weird. She seems pretty easy to me, he shrugged. She even let me stay over last night. I froze. Of course, she was drunk, so nothing actually happened, he said with a wink. But seriously, she's such a lightweight. Seems like she'd be easy to persuade. And her lips are pretty soft, feel nice too. Santiago, I cut him off. What do you want? He put on a pained expression. Dude, I came to ask for a favor. Ava's so quiet, it's impossible to get anything out of her. It was after 2 and she hadn't eaten, and I couldn't just let her starve. I asked what she wanted, but she just told me to decide. So I ordered some takeout based on what I like, and as soon as she finished the spicy noodles, her stomach started killing her. I completely freaked out. All the points I scored yesterday went right down the drain. Her secretary said you used to make her lunch all the time, so you must know what she likes. Since you're not after her anymore, how about you share your playbook with me? Come on, man, help me out. Honestly, I don't have a playbook, I said, shaking my head. Even though we're here on a mission, the people here are real. I've always believed that if you want someone's genuine affection, you have to be genuine first. He looked completely baffled. But aren't they just the target and a bunch of NPCs? This world isn't so different from ours, I said quietly. Whether you want to win her over or not, you should at least try to understand her as a person, not just rely on some secondhand tips. But I don't have time, he said, sighing. I'm here for my mom. She's dying. The system only gave me 1 year. I have to complete this mission within a year so I can go back and save her. He buried his face in his hands, looking utterly defeated. Dude, I have to finish this mission. It's the only way I can save her. I sighed, walked over to my bookshelf, and pulled out a small notebook. This has all the special recipes I figured out over the past 5 years. It also lists all the details about her allergies and what to do when her stomach acts up. If it helps you, take it. He snatched it and flipped through a few pages, his eyes wide. Holy crap, this is so detailed. This isn't a playbook. This is real affection. This time, I didn't bother saying anything about being genuine. It was laughable, really. Who was I, a failed conqueror, to preach about sincerity? Oh, one more thing, he said, pressing his palms together like he was praying. Ava knows you're a conqueror, but she doesn't know about me. Can you please keep that a secret for now? I froze. What did you just say? You said Ava knows what? Santiago crossed his legs. She told me last night when she was drunk. Said she accidentally overheard you talking to the system, so she knows you were trying to conquer her. His words were like a pebble dropped into a still pond, sending a small ripple through me before the surface settled again. What difference did it make if she knew? It was all over anyway. A few days later, I was at a corporate gala, and Ava was there too. As expected, Santiago was right by her side. I saw them across the room, her arm linked through his. I gave them a brief glance before turning my attention back to the person I was talking to, smiling and making polite conversation. These events are exhausting, but unavoidable. In the middle of a conversation, the CEO of Miller Industries, Mr. Miller, waved to someone behind me. Ava, my dear, over here. I turned instinctively and saw Ava walking toward us, Santiago no longer with her. I was just wondering where you were. I saw James, but not you, Mr. Miller said, his usual charming self. The rumor is that you two are about to make things official. Any truth to that? In the past, whenever people made jokes like that, I would foolishly hold my breath, hoping she might say something, anything to surprise me. How ridiculous! Ava's expression was unreadable. She wasn't as cold as usual, but she didn't say a word. Mr. Miller, that's just gossip. Don't pay it any mind, I said with a smile, patting his shoulder. Besides, Miss Miller is here with a date tonight. A handsome guy, didn't you see him? Oh, is that right? Mr. Miller's eyes shifted between us playfully. Then my eyes must be failing me. After a few more pleasantries, I made an excuse and slipped away to the second-floor terrace. There was a couch up there where I always went to escape when these events became too much. Behind the couch was a door to a small lounge, and its walls were notoriously thin. I had just sat down when I heard a familiar voice from inside. Seriously, system, how did you guys even pick an idiot like James? Did they not interview conquerors? Or do they just pick them for their looks? I fed him some sob story about my sick mom, and he totally bought it. I can't tell if I'm a great actor or if he's just not the sharpest tool in the shed. He's naive, but I'll give him this. He's good-looking. Almost as good-looking as me. No wonder it took him 5 years to get nowhere with Ava. Pathetic. He's a loser who failed his mission and got stuck here. In my game, he's just an NPC. And he had the nerve to lecture me about being genuine and treating people with sincerity. That's rich. You're being too loud, I said. The room went silent. After a rustle of movement, the door slid open. Santiago stood there, his face pale. A piece of advice, I said calmly. This door isn't soundproof. You're interrupting my break. A series of emotions flickered across his face. Dude, don't get the wrong idea. That's not what I meant. It doesn't matter. He was clearly flustered. You're not going to hold this against me, are you? Sabotage me with Ava? I'm a conqueror too, you know. I shook my head. No, I'm not interested in your business, so don't worry. But for now on, stay away from me. And don't ask me anything else about her. I don't like you. He bit his lip, mumbled, fine, and left, probably to find Ava. The terrace was finally quiet. I closed my eyes, planning to rest for a bit. When I opened them again, Ava was standing right in front of me. I had no idea when she'd arrived or how long she'd been watching me. You always hide up here when you're tired, she said. Is there something I can help you with? I asked, frowning as I got to my feet. She hesitated. Santiago is a simple guy. We're just colleagues. Don't give him a hard time just because he came with me. So that's what this was about. She was here to defend him. Looking at her, I suddenly felt how pathetic my past self had been. You're overthinking it, Miss Miller, I said with a small smile. Why would I give your colleague a hard time? Because he gets to be by your side, and I don't. Her brow tightened. You don't have to be like that. Ava, I'm not trying to get anything from you anymore. She froze. What did you just say? There was no point in hiding it anymore. You've known all along that I came here with a conquest mission, haven't you? I said, a slight smile on my lips. You overheard it that night, didn't you? I've been thinking about it ever since Santiago brought it up. I was always so careful, only ever speaking to the system when I was completely alone, except for that one night. The first night we spent together. I woke up in the middle of the night, so deliriously happy I couldn't fall back asleep. I slipped out of bed, went to the living room, and summoned the system. System, does this mean I'm about to succeed? Physical intimacy doesn't mean the mission is complete, it replied. She has to actually fall in love with you. I thought about her passionate, drunken kisses from earlier and felt certain. She will fall in love with me. The system chuckled. Well then, congratulations in advance. The day you actually succeed, I'll probably be happy enough to do a little spin. I whispered with the system for a while longer until I heard a faint noise from the bedroom. I immediately went silent and tiptoed back. When I saw Ava was still sound asleep, I finally relaxed. I'm guessing you were actually awake, and you heard me talking to the system, right? I asked, looking at her with a smile. She didn't deny it. Her silence was all the answer I needed. Sorry for bothering you all these years. It won't happen again. I turned to leave, but she grabbed my wrist. What do you mean it won't happen again? She demanded, her eyes wide and her voice trembling. I mean that you don't love me, so the mission is a failure. The system is gone, and I won't be trying to conquer you anymore. You can relax. From now on, we'll have no contact outside of work. Of course, if even working together is a problem for you, I can start phasing out the partnerships between Anderson Corporation and Miller Industries. Though I don't see the point in losing money over personal issues. With that, I turn to go. So all these years, when you said you loved me, it was just for the mission? Her voice stopped me in my tracks. She took a step closer. Was I nothing more than a target to you? Did you feel anything else from me at all? No, but whatever love I had felt had been completely drained by this relationship. What was the point of explaining now? Think whatever you want. People only ever believe what they want to believe. For 5 years, I stubbornly believed my feelings were obvious. Every thoughtful gesture, every moment of care, Every glance, every chase, it was all real. Even knowing I was a conqueror, I thought she would eventually feel the sincerity of my love. But she preferred to trust her own suspicions rather than give me a second glance. I heard hurried footsteps behind me. "James!" Ava lunged forward and grabbed me, as if desperately trying to hold on to something precious that was slipping through her fingers. But I was never her precious something. Not ever. "You've been lying to me this whole time, haven't you? You don't love me at all." She stared into my eyes. I knew what she wanted. She wanted confirmation that her judgment had been right all along. I met her gaze. Every word I said was true. She looked stunned. "I did come here with a mission to win you over. But I also, genuinely, loved you, Ava. In the business world, you're as good a judge of character as I am. Are you telling me you never once saw that my feelings for you were real?" When I left, Ava was still standing on the terrace, frozen in place. I made small talk with a few more business acquaintances and then prepared to head home. Pablo was waiting for me by the entrance. "Mr. Anderson, are we going back to the office or straight home?" "Home," I said, then added, "No need to wait for Miss Miller." In the past, after any event or meeting, I would always wait for Ava to leave first. She can't hold her liquor, but in our world, you have to drink and smile. I always had to see her assistant get her safely in her car before I could relax. "But, sir," Pablo hesitated, then whispered, "I think Miss Miller has been watching you." I paused and glanced back. Ava had made her way to the lobby entrance and was standing a short distance away. Santiago was beside her, smiling and talking, but her eyes were fixed on me. Our gazes met, but this time I was the one to look away. "Let's go," I said. "We won't be waiting for her anymore." The next few days were a blur of activity. My great-grandmother's birthday was coming up. I hosted a dinner party at my estate and invited a few of her oldest friends, including the patriarch of the Miller family. To my surprise, Ava came as well. She was wearing an elegant brooch. It took me a moment to realize it was the one I had given her for her birthday years ago. I'd even helped design it myself, but I'd never seen her wear it before. At dinner, I personally served each of the elders a bowl of longevity noodles I'd made by hand. My great-grandmother beamed at me. "Oh, why can't every family have a grandson like my James? These noodles are delicious. He's handsome, runs a company, and he can cook like this," one guest remarked. "You hit the jackpot with this one, Eleanor," another said to my great-grandmother. "Don't even think about it. You can't have him," she retorted with a laugh. "It's good genes." The table erupted in laughter. Another guest glanced at Ava, who was sitting quietly, and said jokingly, "James isn't getting any younger. When are you planning on settling down?" In the past, jokes like that were always directed at me and Ava. Anyone could see how I felt about her, but she never acknowledged it. I stood up with a smile and refilled the guest's wine glass. "I'm actually single at the moment. If you know anyone suitable, I'd be happy for an introduction. If it works out, there'll be a generous thank you gift in it for you." With a sharp clink, Ava's wine glass tipped over. The staff rushed to clean up the spill, which had splashed onto her dress and the brooch. "I can clean the brooch myself." "Thank you," she said quietly. "Ava, should I find someone for you too?" the same guest teased. Ava paused in wiping the brooch. "No, that's all right. Thank you." Everyone at that table, from my great-grandmother to her friends, was as sharp as a tack. It wasn't long before my great-grandmother smiled at Mr. Miller and said, "Henry, how about a game of chess?" Mr. Miller happily agreed, and the other guests all decided to go watch. In an instant, the large dining table was empty except for Ava and me. Honestly, in the past, I would have been ecstatic for a chance to be alone with her, racking my brain for something new and interesting to talk about. But now, I had nothing to say. On the other side of the room, there was a lively buzz around the chess game. Over here, there was only the quiet clinking of our silverware. "Did you make these noodles yourself?" she asked suddenly. "Yes." "That's impressive. Who taught you?" I set down my bowl. "If you don't like them, you don't have to finish." She looked startled. "That's not what I meant." "I'm full," I said, standing up and heading for the third-floor terrace. My great-grandmother loves a good show, so I had arranged for fireworks. To my surprise, Ava followed me out onto the terrace. "Can I help?" "It's all set." You can go downstairs and watch with everyone else. But she didn't leave. Is there something else? I was at the mall yesterday, she began. I saw a tie that I thought would look good on you. You're mistaken. Today is my great-grandmother's birthday, not mine. Silence fell between us again. I finished checking the fireworks setup and was about to head downstairs when she spoke. That night, I heard everything. Your conversation with the system. I can't stand being lied to, so I left first thing in the morning. You didn't hear all of it. What? She asked, confused. I said more later that night. After I was sure she was asleep, I had slipped into another room and summoned the system again. I asked the system something. I said, looking up at the dark sky. I asked if, after the mission was complete, I could choose to stay in this world. I told it I didn't want to leave you. I wanted to stay by your side forever. I was so happy that night, not just because we had gotten closer, but because the system promised it would help me apply to stay here with you after the mission was over. Maybe it was fate. I did end up staying, just not with you. With that, I turned and headed downstairs. After a moment's hesitation, Ava followed. Mr. Anderson. The butler was waiting at the foot of the stairs. Security says there's a Mr. Santiago here for you. Santiago? What was he doing here? I walked outside, confused, and saw Santiago standing at the gate, holding a gift box. Ava followed me out, looking just as bewildered. What are you doing here? She asked him. I heard it was your great-grandmother's birthday, so I brought a little something, he stammered. Mr. Anderson, you don't mind, do you? I distinctly remembered telling him to stay away from me. Mr. Anderson, can I have a word? He asked cautiously. I took a couple of steps toward him, and he leaned in to whisper in my ear. Dude, I'm at a critical stage. Just play along. Before I could react, he grabbed my hand, flung the gift box into the air, and then stumbled backward as if I'd shoved him, collapsing onto the ground. Ack! He cried out, his face twisted in pain as he looked up pitifully at Ava. From her angle, she couldn't see that he was still gripping my hand behind my back. I felt a wave of weary resignation. As expected, Ava rushed over. How do I put this, Ava? You don't love me. You're just in love with the idea of protecting yourself from ever getting hurt again. After the fireworks, the guests began to leave. When I went back inside, the housekeeper was clearing the table. The elderly eat so little these days, she remarked. Their appetites just aren't what they used to be. Then she chuckled. Except for Miss Miller. She finished her entire bowl of noodles, ate every last bite, and you'd never guess she has a sensitive stomach and all those allergies. I smiled and went upstairs to find my great-grandmother. She was in the study and beckoned me over as if she'd been waiting. James, come here. I'm going over my game with Henry. Tell me, what would have been the best move here? I sat down across from her, studied the board for a moment, and placed a stone. Brilliant, she exclaimed, clapping her hands. Absolutely brilliant. To think I was the one who taught you this game, and now the student has surpassed the master. That's because I had a good teacher. She rolled a stone between her fingers and asked casually, Did you and that Miller girl have a fight? I hesitated. Grandma, I don't love her anymore. Oh, the stone in her hand dropped onto the edge of the board, but her eyes were as sharp as ever. You love her for 5 years, and just like that, you stop? Yes, I said, looking down. Do you think I'm being too impulsive? The room was quiet for a moment. Then she set down her piece and sat up straight. My dear boy, who in this world do you think has earned the right to be a little impulsive? I looked up confused. Someone, she said, who took over a massive corporation in his 20s. Someone who, in just a few short years, doubled its size and achieved something his grandparents couldn't in their entire lives. Tell me, hasn't a man like that earned the right to be a little impulsive? I stared her, speechless. She smiled, leaned forward, and patted my head. You're not being impulsive, my dear. You've earned the right to be willful. And as your grandmother, I'm actually quite pleased to see it. My eyes welled up, and I hugged her like a little boy. Thank you, Grandma. Silly boy, she whispered. There's so much more to this world to love than just romance. After my great-grandmother's birthday, I dove back into work. One afternoon, while I was buried in paperwork, my office door flew open. It was my cousin, Chloe, the one who runs a modeling agency in Europe. Trailing behind her was a line of 10 tall, handsome men from all over the world. What is all this? I asked. Chloe dropped onto my sofa and tossed a box at me. A gift from great-grandma. I opened it, completely confused. Inside was a note in my great-grandmother's familiar script. My dearest boy, your grandmother is very open-minded. Whatever your preferences are, I support you completely. I nearly spit my tea all over my desk. You're going to explain this to me right now, I said through clenched teeth. She blinked innocently. Isn't it obvious? I saw great-grandma this morning, and she mentioned you were still single. I just updated her on modern relationships. She thought about it and told me to bring a few of my best models for you to meet, to see if any of them catch your eye. You have 1 minute to get them out of my office. Come on, James. Do you know how hard it was to get them all here? I looked at the line of models and pinched the bridge of my nose. Fine. Just have them go out to the main office and hand out some pastries to the staff. Are you sure you don't want to keep just one? Positive. Are you sure you want to forfeit your company's third round of funding? The color drained from her face. They're leaving immediately. After the models were ushered out, Chloe remained on my sofa. Something else? I asked. She leaned in. James, I heard you have a private, state-of-the-art gym back here. Can I see it? If you ever fill great-grandma's head with that kind of nonsense again, I said, tapping my knuckles on the desk. Never again. I swear, she said, throwing her hands up in surrender. I did have a private gym behind my office. I let her in and gestured to the equipment. Knock yourself out. Chloe eagerly started lifting weights while I got on the treadmill. Oh well, at least she was happy. I was in the middle of a run, breathing hard, when she suddenly stopped. Her expression was tense. James, I think there's a creepy woman in the building across from us. She came over to my treadmill and pointed out the window. See? That woman over there. She's been staring at us for a while. I followed her gaze. In the window of the office building across the way, Ava was standing with a mug, staring directly at us. Chloe, having been abroad for so long, didn't recognize her. She shivered. Is she some kind of stalker? Ignore her, I said, looking away. Just close the blinds. Chloe happily went to pull the cord, but she tripped, and I instinctively reached out to catch her. From Ava's angle, it must have looked like we were pressed together in a kiss. With a swish, the blinds closed. At the end of the day, Chloe brought the 10 models back to say goodbye. I sternly told her not to bring her entourage to the office again. Productivity had plummeted that afternoon. None of the women could focus, and even some of the men were distracted. As I passed the assistants' desks, I saw Pablo was still there. Still here? I asked. He looked miserable. Emma has to work late tonight. Emma? From Miller Industries? I asked. What does her working late have to do with you? She's my girlfriend, he blurted out, then immediately looked like he regretted it, jumping to his feet. Well, not officially, we're not. It's fine, I cut him off. I was a little surprised, but it wasn't my business. Relationships are a good thing. Don't worry about what I think. That explained how he was always so up-to-date on the gossip from Miller Industries. Actually, we got together because I was always running messages and lunches over to Miss Miller for you, he said, scratching his head shyly. By the way, Mr. Anderson, did you hear that Miss Miller got hurt? Hurt? Yeah. Apparently she cut her hand on a broken mug this afternoon. Emma's with her at the hospital getting stitches. That's why she's working late. I see. You don't seem very concerned, he mumbled. I'm not, I said with a small smile. So in the future, you don't need to report Miss Miller's affairs to me. The next day, I ran into Ava in the lobby. Her right hand was bandaged. Can I have a moment of your time? She asked quietly. Ava, I sighed. If this is about work, you can speak with the project manager. It's not about work, she interrupted. Please, James. Just 5 minutes. She reached out and took my hand. If this is about Santiago, I've already set him straight. I admit, at first, I was just using him to make you jealous. I hated how much power you had over me, so I tried to force myself to like someone else, someone who was genuinely kind to me. But I couldn't do it. I realize now that I can't stand seeing you with anyone else. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Please don't be angry anymore, okay? Ava, you're mistaken, I said calmly. This has nothing to do with anyone else, and I'm not angry with you. I just don't love you anymore, and you still haven't figured out the difference between love and possessiveness. 4 or 5 years, she kept me at arm's length, never telling me how she truly felt. She didn't love me, but she wouldn't reject me outright either. She accepted all my kindness, but always kept me on the outside. She let me cling to the ridiculous hope that one day she might finally turn around. You're not in love, I told her. You just can't stand the thought of losing someone who used to revolve around you. No, that's not it, she said, shaking her head, her face contorted in pain. I really do love you. Just as she said it, I saw a figure in the doorway. It was Santiago, standing there like a ghost. Our eyes met. He forced a smile and stepped inside. Ava turned, following my gaze. Ava, why haven't you been answering my calls? He demanded, taking a step closer. Why did you send HR to tell me my contract was being terminated? Why are you avoiding me? Santiago, Ava said with a frown. Maybe I gave you the wrong impression at first, but I thought we already cleared things up. Clear things up? His voice shot up. I like you. I love you. Can't you tell? When we first met, you said you liked my personality, that I was a good guy, that you liked the sound of my voice. You were so close to falling for me. Ava was silent for a moment. I am sorry. You're a great guy, and I know your feelings are genuine. But I just don't feel that way about you. Santiago stared at her, stunned. Then he whirled around and pointed at me. It's because of him, isn't it? He told you I'm a conqueror, didn't he? What? Ava looked completely taken aback. How could you be so cruel? He hurled the notebook I'd given him at me. You used me as a pawn to test her feelings for you. You already failed your mission. What right do you have to screw up mine? You're mistaken, I said calmly. I didn't tell her. Whether you succeed or fail has nothing to do with me. I have no interest in it. You're lying, he snarled, his eyes filled with venom. If you didn't tell her, then why doesn't she like me? You failed, so you can't stand to see me succeed, right? There was no point arguing with someone who had completely lost his mind. Security, I called, and guards immediately entered the room. The guards dragged Santiago out, his shouts echoing down the hall. From the moment he'd started rambling about the mission, Ava had been standing frozen, as if time had stopped. Her hand trembled as she bent down to pick up the notebook from the floor. He doesn't want it. You can just throw it away, I said. But she clutched it tightly, seemingly unable to process everything that had just happened. Ava, the things you believed so strongly might not have been the truth. You never learned how to tell the difference between real affection and everything else. The reality of it all was hitting us sooner and harder than I ever could have imagined. James, what he was saying, her voice trembled. It's all true, I said, meeting her gaze. He's a conqueror, and so am I. After that, Ava became incredibly attentive. A lunch would appear on my desk at the office. My phone would be filled with daily messages from her, and small gifts would show up from time to time. I heard she started learning to cook. It was as if our roles had completely reversed. She humbled herself, saying she wanted to repay every single thing I had ever done for her. But inside, I felt nothing but a dead calm. Months went by. I ignored her completely, aside from necessary work-related communication. But she persisted. One evening, as I was leaving the office, a light rain began to fall. As I stepped out of the building, I saw her waiting for me by the entrance, just like every other day. This time, instead of avoiding her, I walked right up to her. Let's walk, I said. Her eyes lit up. Okay. We walked in the rain without an umbrella, rounding the street corner. Do you remember where we first met? I asked. She paused. It was that coffee shop on the corner. You were so excited that day because, after living in this world for 22 years, I finally learned who my mission target was. And then I saw you, and it was love at first sight. Later, the system told me you were my target. Do you have any idea how happy I was in that moment? The person I fell for at first sight was also my mission target. What could be luckier than that? James, she said, nervously reaching for my hand. I stepped away and smiled. Ava, this has always been my secret, one I've kept since the moment I fell in love with you. Back when the mission first started, I used to lie awake at night, fantasizing about telling you all of this on our wedding night. I'd kiss you, tease you a little, and wait until you begged me to tell you. Then I'd whisper in your ear, my love, I have a secret. There's a system that sent me here to win you over. But you know what? I had already fallen in love with you long before it ever gave me the mission. But that night never came. Not even after 5 years. James, she cried, grabbing my hand, her eyes red. I won't make you wait any longer. From now on, You're misunderstanding again, I said, shaking my head and cutting her off. The only reason I can say all this so calmly is because I've truly let it go. In those 5 years, all the love, all the passion I had for you, it was all used up. Ava, let's just leave things where they started. Ava stood frozen for a long moment before shaking her head fiercely. James, I'm not letting go. I love you. I know I realized it too late, but we can still fix this. I'll be twice as good to you as you ever were to me. From now on, I'll always be by your side. I'll go wherever you go. I'll do whatever you do. It's too late. It's not. She squeezed my hand. Isn't this the perfect time? You're free from your mission, and I finally know my own heart. Please, just give me one more chance. Let's be together for real this time. Okay. Just then, a cold laugh cut through the air. So, if you two get your happy ending, where does that leave me? I turned. It was Santiago, standing a few feet away. Ava, after everything I've done for you these past few months, why do you treat me like I don't exist? How can you be so heartless? Do you have any idea what happens to me if I fail this mission? Why don't you love me? How can you not love me? James! A familiar voice echoed in my mind. I froze. You're back. I've been worried about you. I warned you to be careful of the other conqueror. Headquarters has flagged him as mentally unstable and extremely dangerous. Before the warning could finish, Santiago pulled a knife from his pocket. His face was pale, and his smile was terrifying. Why? James failed his mission too, but he gets to stay in this world. Why am I the only one who gets erased? System, get out here. Now! He screamed at the empty air, brandishing the knife. James cheated. He failed too. Why doesn't he have to die? His own system seemed to be trying to reason with him. I don't care. I don't care. He shrieked, and then he lunged at me. James, look out! Ava screamed. My body moved before my mind could process it. I sidestepped, grabbed his wrist, and twisted, sending the knife clattering to the pavement. In the next motion, I flipped him over my shoulder and pinned him to the ground. What? He stared up at me in disbelief, his eyes hollow. How is that possible? My family was always paranoid about kidnapping, I said. They made me take self-defense classes my whole life. Taking you down wasn't that hard. I released him, and he slumped to the ground. I told you before, the people in this world aren't NPCs. If you want to win someone over, you have to actually get to know them. You know nothing about me, yet you thought you could attack me with a knife? No, 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 he mumbled, then broke down sobbing. System, please, give me one more chance. I can do it. Don't end it now. It's not time yet, right? There's still time. I can make her love me. She's so close to loving me. I almost killed James. If I had, Ava would have loved me. If not, I could drug her. I can do it, I swear, please. In the distance, a clock tower chimed 12 times. High noon. His voice cut off mid-plea. Santiago was erased. The paramedics and police arrived quickly. The official cause of death was listed as sudden cardiac arrest. His path in this game was different from mine. I chose to be born into this world, to live a normal life until the mission began. He, on the other hand, chose to drop in mid-game, given a pre-made identity to start the mission immediately. He had no family here, no real friends. The scene was cleared away quickly. System, I asked quietly, will he get a second chance in the other world? The system sighed. He signed a speedrun contract. The reward he was after was more than just a healthy body. In his original world, he wanted endless wealth on top of his health. The greater the desire, the harsher the penalty for failure. According to the rules, his system isn't allowed to intervene. If it pleaded on his behalf, it would lose all chance of promotion at best. At worst, it would be decommissioned. Even if it fought for him, the best outcome would be sending him back to his original world. And he was already dying there anyway. I let out a long, slow breath. Why did this happen? Ava asked, stunned. Is he really dead? Those are the rules of the game, I said. Fail the mission, and you get erased. But you're still here, she said. That's because my system applied for special consideration. Otherwise, I would have been erased the day you met Santiago. It was a cruel game from the start, one where you bet your life. We were all just people barely hanging on in our original worlds, brought here by our desires. We had to accept the rules. I was just one of the lucky few who found a little bit of warmth amidst the cold, hard code. How did it come to this? Ava whispered. How could someone actually die? I don't know. She raised a trembling hand. James, I really didn't know. You didn't know, I said, pulling my hand away. But you had 5 years and countless chances to ask me. And there were countless times I wanted to tell you everything. But every single time, you shut me out. How many times did I look back at you, only for you to turn away? How many times did I reach for you, only for you to leave? The fear of being erased, combined with a love that was never returned, had completely hollowed me out. I just wish you had looked back once. Just once. You didn't even have to say anything. Just let me finish. But you never gave me that chance. That's enough. She stepped forward, her voice trembling as she grabbed my hand. James, I was wrong. I shouldn't have tested you. I shouldn't have taken your love for granted. I was too proud and too insecure to believe you could really love me. Too proud to take that first step. You gave me something so precious, and you almost died for it, James. Her eyes were red as she pleaded with me. Please, just give me one more chance. Please. It's over. It's not over. The mission is over, but you still love me. I know you do, right? She laced her fingers through mine, holding on tight. You didn't leave this world. That has to be fate. I love you. This time, let me be the one to pursue you. We can start over. I shook my head. Not everything that's broken can be fixed. Ava, after all this time, you still don't get it. I took a step back. Yes, I'm still in this world, but I'm leaving you. The night I lay in bed waiting to be erased, that's when I stopped loving you. There's more to love in this world than just romance. There's family, friends, my career, and myself. I love you, she whispered, tears streaming down her face. James, I really do love you. I gently pried her fingers from my hand, one by one. Ava, I said, your I love you came far too late. After that, to make things final, I blocked her on everything. A while later, my great-grandmother told me that Ava had resigned as CEO of Miller Industries. She left the company to her younger brother and moved out of New York City. Emma said Miss Miller went looking for the system, Pablo told me, his expression unreadable. She said that if she could find it, maybe she could find a way to start over, or even go back in time. I listened, feeling a strange sense of melancholy. What's the point? Instead of wishing for a do-over, she should focus on cherishing the people who will be with her in the future. Maybe she just thinks she'll never find anyone who treats her as well as you did, Mr. Anderson, Pablo said with a sigh. Pablo and Emma were getting married. I approved his leave for the wedding and took the day off myself. My system had been busy cleaning up the mess Santiago's system had left behind. Now, it was her time to leave, and I wanted to say a proper goodbye. I took a beer down to the beach at Coney Island and sat on the rocks. System, I said. Yes. I've been thinking about something. Tell me, why did Santiago only get 1 year when I got 5? Well, she hesitated. I smiled. Logically, our mission lengths should have been the same, regardless of our starting paths. You got me those extra 4 years, didn't you? She went quiet, almost as if she were embarrassed. What did you have to give up for them? All of my performance bonuses. I figured. Any regrets? I teased. You did spend 5 years stuck with a pretty dense human. It must have hurt your chances for promotion. She was quiet for a moment. System. James, she said, her voice serious and steady in a way I'd never heard before. I have never once regretted it, because I've always believed that those who live with a genuine heart deserve to be treated with kindness by the world. I was stunned. The sun sank below the horizon as a flock of gulls flew past. For some reason, my eyes began to burn. Thank you, I said. You're a really good system. She laughed softly. It's nothing. Performance metrics aren't everything. What matters is enjoying the work. And I've really enjoyed being your partner these past few years. And James, you're not dense at all. Someone willing to be so open with their heart should never be mocked or taken for granted. Yeah, I said, wiping my eye. Will I ever get to see you again? Maybe just to talk sometimes. I'm afraid not, she said, a note of regret in her voice. This world is being decommissioned from the program. There will be no new conquerors. As of today, our connection is severed. I see. System, in all these 5 years, I never asked. Do you have a name? We don't have names, just designations. Mine is actually considered a lucky one. It's 520. It's a number that symbolizes love. She sighed. A shame I couldn't bring you much luck in that department. I shook my head. I've gained so much more than love here. Thank you, Fivey. I raised my beer bottle in a toast to the empty ocean. The line was quiet for a second. You know how you always talk about doing a little spin when you're happy? I've always imagined it must be a beautiful sight. She laughed. I like the name, Fivey. Goodbye, James. Goodbye. The wind swept past my ears, and I knew she was gone. I turned around. In the distance, along the shore, was a vast field of wildflowers in full bloom. Each one swayed in the breeze, like a graceful dancer. I got to my feet and started walking toward them. I had made my decision. I was staying here in a world now free of conquerors. In this new world, full of mystery and surprise, I believe that those who live their lives with sincerity will find their own luck. I believe I can live a life that is vibrant and full. I believe that someday, not too far from now, I will meet someone worthy of my heart, and I will love again with all of it. And this time, my love will be certain, free from doubt. It's time to move forward, down the path that leads to the future. The core of this story is both cruel and true. Genuine feelings can be depleted, and love can expire. It is not a simple story of a missed connection, but one of an awakening to one's own self-worth. The protagonist may have failed the mission, but in the end, he won back himself. He shows us that a person's value should never be defined by the affection of another. The true mission in life is not to conquer another person, but to build a life of your own. The one most worthy of love is the version of yourself that, even after being broken, chooses to step out into a wider world. So remember this, not every "I'm sorry" can be met with an "it's okay." Genuine feelings might have an expiration date, but the capacity to love yourself never will. When you truly find yourself, you gain the power to create your own world.